It's going. Y'all can just keep talking. I'll edit it. With the parts that I need.
That's what my grandbaby says. What the heck? That's what you better stop saying.
I like that.
The little bitty one.
Oh, she likes me. She's the only one that likes me.
Okay, you guys ready to start?
Are you leading the meeting?
Yeah, I
Okay,
have to
good.
lead it. So, alright. So, thank y'all for being here today. We are going to be discussing the data for our disciplinary process here at Ector Middle School, Ector College Prep. So if you look at the agenda, I have a few bullet points that we can hit on. But of course, if anything else comes up that you guys want to add, or if we don't get all these things covered, that's fine. So I guess I'll just start off with the first one, the observations and differences. So some things that we could talk about are your overall thoughts on the discipline here at Ector. What things have you noticed that are different from this year versus last year? And then what do you think the contributing factors are for that, both negative and positive? So if anyone wants to say what they've noticed about the discipline at all.
Well, I've seen a positive difference from last year to this year, and I think a lot of it is due to the T3M system. Putting that in place has helped with referrals, as well as holding the students accountable immediately instead of waiting till the end of the day or sticking all of them in ISS. We have more options depending on the offense.
Okay.
And I also think that the Bell schedule has had has improved the behavior skipping wise.
Yeah.
A lot less kids in the hallway, and then the APs have done a good job of sweeping if they are in the hallways.
So me and Miss Salinas were kind of talking about that as well, and she was gonna come. I don't know if she's still gonna come, but we were talking about the differences maybe because the kids are not in the hallway as much because they only switch 4 times a day, and so that alone has helped out. And the fact that the passing periods are still the same length of time, so they're only in the hallway about 4 times a day, which doesn't really give them enough time to skip. Because if they're skipping for the entire 85 minutes, someone's gonna see them. So we think that that's helped a lot.
I think another thing that's helped is not having classes like outside of the doors.
Right.
So we know that there's no reason for kids to be outside of the school going to portables and things like that.
Right. I agree.
Less places to hide.
Right, I was gonna mention that.
Okay.
And a big part of the T3M is the taking their time away from it.
Yeah.
And they don't like that. And ISS getting out at 6:20, that has had a big effect on some of them not going in there. I mean, you're gonna have your repeat offenders,
Right.
Any campus you go to, but I think it's cut down a whole lot on the amount of kids that we have in there, cause they don't wanna stay until 6:20, so.
So then, I guess with that, you're talking about the repeat offenders. On this one part here, I have high versus low level. How effective do you think it's been? With low level is basically O room, and high level would be ISS or suspension. So the biggest question that I have is how often do they return? Is it like a regular thing? And for you, you're in ISS as Carter is with O room. So how often do you see those kids return?
I do have some repeat offenders.
Uh-huh.
But I think it's also the kids who, for instance, can't, if a kid can't read, he's gonna read
Right.
to get out of that environment.
So-
If you accept to get kicked out, he's gonna do what you have to do to get out of the situation.
And sometimes it's not just a behavior, there's a
Right.
reason for the behavior. And a lot of the O-room repeat offenders are that.
Behavior.
And it's cause
they're
it'll be the
just-
same class, cause they're doing the same thing all the time and they don't wanna do it.
Right. And so for ISS, is it the same? Are you having the same kids that come back, or is there new kids that are going?
There's new kids that are going, but there's, a lot of the kids that were repeaters, they are either suspended or expelled.
Okay.
So it's just that small, it's not even 10%, I don't think. I think now it's down to like 5%, but there are some kids that come in that this is their first time coming in and they don't come back. So I think it's effective.
Okay. So then I guess we could go straight to improvements. We all are aware of the process. I wrote a few of them down with the check protocol, and then O-room will be the next step, ISS, and then suspension or expulsion. So what do you think we could do to improve the discipline process, or either, I guess, overall, just anything about the discipline? How effective do you think it's been?
I think to improve it overall as a campus, everybody needs to be on the same page, and consistent. We've done better this year, but there's still inconsistencies, that I think do affect it, and the kids notice it, and they gravitate more towards the ones that they will get away with
Right.
things, with. So I think if we start off strong and as a consistent group, then it will improve overall, even though we have seen improvements.
And one thing that we have to with me, in discipline, I start here. Then I go here. And by the end of the year, I might be here. We can't start here and then try to get here. It's not gonna work. You have to start tight. You have to run a tight ship, and everybody has to be on the same page, because if you start out here, it's hard to get them here. But if you start here, then, you know, just let up a little bit at a time. Don't go from here to then, okay, y'all did, no. They have to know. And that's why I think the sixth grade homework center has been so effective. Because if you tell a kid that something's gonna happen, it's gotta happen.
Right.
You can't tell them this is gonna happen, okay, the next time you do that, no, it's gotta happen. They have to see it happen instantly, like O-room. Because then they don't believe you, and then it's like the kid when you go to the doctor's office, and you know their name by the time you go back there.
Right.
Cause the mom has threatened them like 10,000 times, and nothing happens, so.
Yeah.
And communication too, like, for instance, and this is probably growing up as an athlete, but if one of the athletes gets in trouble, I call her.
Right.
So they get in trouble here, and then they get disciplined there. Like, me and her communicate. If I see somebody, I'll call her and let her know, or I'll let Miss Carter know. Like, communication is huge to hold the kids accountable. Because if not, something will slip through the cracks. And I want them to know that if I see them, that she's gonna know.
Right.
Or you're gonna know, or Coach McKnight's gonna know, because we're a team, and they need to know that.
Exactly.
So the most successful parts of this instance that you guys think, I guess, has been the most successful is we're trying to build more consistency, but the consistency of the process. Like I like check protocol as a classroom teacher, because I know last year, and especially my first year, I was extremely frustrated with some of the kids I had. I had a kid, and he every day would come in there, and it was his goal to just, try and make my life miserable. And so constantly sending him out, and I think I had written already like 4 or 5 referrals on the same kid, and nothing was being done, And so for now, I really like check protocol, because I write your name down, I give you that check or whatever, or even threaten to give you a check, and they're already acting better. Or you send them out, and then something's immediately gonna be done. Like, they know at the end of the day they're going to have to go to O-room. And so even if it's just, an extension of the day, I think that helps. Because it's like a little bit. But, so my only question about that is, how do you think we can improve that process? Because even this year, I had written 4 referrals on one student. He went to O-room 4 times, but he still kept on doing the same thing. So what do you think?
And that's part of that 5 to 10%.
Right. But it's always gonna.
Right.
And the check protocol is something that needs to be tightened anyways, as a whole, because it's very inconsistent as well.
Right.
Like, some teachers use it, some teachers say they use it, but they're not. Some
Right.
people say they don't use it at all.
Some
But,
teachers abuse it.
yes, some
Yeah.
teachers abuse it. But, like, for instance, if it's a student that never gets in trouble, they're not perfect, they make a mistake, they should have an opportunity, instead of being straight sent to O-room.
Right.
Like, dropping their pencil.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't be a first time offense where you're sent
And that's across the board.
across
That's
the board.
across the board with students who rarely ever get in trouble, but when they do get in trouble, it seems like their offense is way worse than the ones who are in trouble all the time,
Yes.
to me.
Yes.
And that's something too, I think the kids pick up on. So they automatically are like pointing that out, such and such is in trouble all the time, but like I'm getting in trouble and getting sent to O-room, or I'm getting sent to ISS, and this is my first time being in trouble, you know, so.
And what you mentioned is something I tried to work with Ms. Carter, and I think we got it down pretty well. Like if they would get multiple O-rooms, we would erase those and just put them in ISS. Like, so you're gonna keep doing it, you're not just gonna keep getting O-room, we're just gonna assign you ISS. So we started doing that with the ones who were getting it multiple times. It's just something, it's hard to keep track of when you have 1,410 students, but like, we started to know them and their patterns, and we were able to assign them better. Cause they don't wanna stay for ISS.
No.
They don't, sometimes they're like, I'll have O-room Monday and Friday, and that's okay, but if we put them in ISS, then it ends it.
I think the check protocol works really well for classroom management, for classroom teachers, but I've noticed in PE it can become difficult because we're not constantly at the board. And so when a kid is being disruptive or defiant, I mean, we're across the gym, we're supposed to walk all the way over to the board, write their name down, and the kids know that, cause I've had some trouble with some kids where I would write them up and then they'd come and tell administration, well, she didn't put my name on the board. Well, no, I didn't, because we were outside, or, you know, we were across the gym, but they try and get off on those inconsistencies and, you know, well, she didn't put my name on the board and different things like that, and it's like, well, you know,
And I
other
think
than
a lot
that,
of it
keep a
is
piece of paper,
because,
you know?
like for you, like in PE, and that's understandable being outside, but a lot of classroom teachers
Are not
with a
using it.
board
Mhm. Yeah.
don't follow it, and then it's kinda like a double-edged sword there, because we try to go validate like the board or the kids saying this, and they're right, like they really didn't have it, and we still
Right.
have to follow through with the consequence, but
Mhm.
still it's one of those things where.
Or they say, write my name in 2 checks. and
Right.
Right away.
And that's something we learned though, because it was the same kid with the same offense, with the same teacher over and over. Like, it's things that stick out that we noticed. But we've met with teachers, we've met with students, so it's just something that everybody just needs to do what they're supposed to do.
Right. Okay, so, I guess the last 2 points I wanna talk on is the academic aspect in relation to discipline. And I guess you would have a lot of information on that. How much has it improved because of the disciplinary process, do you think? Because I know we're trying to improve anyways because we're in IR, but because of the fact that our discipline has been changed so much in our schedule, like we were talking about, how much do you think that's helping with academics?
Well, I think it has. I think it has definitely just attendance. Getting kids here improves academics, and our attendance has definitely improved just because of it. Well, like we talked yesterday, like changing 4 times instead of 8 times.
Right.
And so, and then the longer periods, the 85 minutes in core classes, most especially. I haven't seen results, but it looks like we're doing okay, right? Yeah. So, as far as like the STAR test and stuff, like it looks like we were on our way to where we needed to be.
Okay, so, in closing, does anyone have any concerns or suggestions that they would like to voice? Just on the process in general? Or just on anything, I guess, that's related to discipline or data, because that's
I
all
think we
I'm
just
working
need buy-in
on, all across the board.
across the board, yeah.
But, I mean, like, for the instance, this table pretty much on the same page, like, so as long as we're being role models and modeling the right way, hopefully others will. 'Cause I've seen improvements.
I think once this last 8th grade group gets out, because they are used to the old system, they've seen both systems and how it works, and they push the limits to see what they can get away with because they used to be able to get away with it. I think once we have this new 6th grade group coming in and the 6th and 7th grade group that we have to be on, as long as we stay consistent with them and move the 6th grade in and they follow it, I think it's gonna create a lot of structure.
I agree. I think they're trained.
Yeah.
And then, like, the 6th graders coming in won't know any different.
Right.
It kind of maintains their innocence.
Yeah, great, agreed.
Alright, anyone have anything else? No? Okay, thank y'all for being here. Thank you.
I tried to take notes, but I think Ramiro took better notes than I did.